Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us to our quarterly community call for online forums through Law Help Interactive. This call is not going to be technical. We're going to cover other forum. Okay. Should I get started?
Yes.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining the quarterly LHI Community Call, Law Help Interactive. We are going to cover a variety of topics in this call. And first, let's do some of the admin. With me, I have the wonderful team from Capstone that works closely with us on developer training and support, but also helping us with the backend hot dog server administration and know-how. But so we have Mark and Bart. Just a few reminders. We are using Zoom for the first time in our calls. We used to use GoToWebinar. I hope this is a better experience for everyone and maybe a little bit easier to use. The webinar is being recorded, and we're asking that people use chat to share tips, but Q&A to ask questions. So you should see those at the bottom of your screen. And if you want to use captions, you can set captions. And, you know, in the toolbar under more, you can click show captions. Some people like that. So if you want to use that, you're welcome to it. So this is the agenda for today. We're gonna do some quick updates on the August 31st code push and go over the online training that we're gonna do this fall. And then we're gonna showcase a new resource page for LHI, which is not ready for the release yet, but hopefully will be at the end of October, early November. I will cover something I'm really excited is an outcome survey that we've been doing of end users to figure out what are they doing after they assemble the forms. So I'll share some data from a small survey that we are running, and then we'll open it up to discussion or questions if people want to talk about other topics or request training, etc. Hold on. So just as a reminder, this is our vision statement, right? We really believe in empowering the end user and having them have a voice in writing to the tribunals, administrative agencies, or other decision makers that will impact their lives in areas like housing, guardianship, expungement, and basically all civil areas of legal need. So LHI, we are not at the beginning information seeking, and we're not at the end in terms of getting to the decision. We're kind of in the middle, and our whole mission is to make sure that when people come here, they can create their documents, they can file them, they feel educated and empowered, and they can continue with the next steps of their pleadings, as most legal proceedings, unfortunately, are not simplified and require more than one step. So just as a reminder to ground us, we'll be sharing quarterly statistics soon, but we are on average seeing about 50,000 finished interviews. And we are seeing about 85,000 packages created each month, and a packet could have more than one document. But we'll be sharing the quarterly stats soon, and you should be able to pull your own usage reports through the reporting tool that you have access to. So updates, Van.
Hi, everybody. I'm Van Emerald. I'm the product support specialist for LHI at Pro Bono Net. So these are the most recent code push updates as of August 31st this year. The first is a pop-up that was made for developers to remind them to test after uploading A to J author interviews, especially for like blank screens. So that was one. API integration between LS is LS
Legal server.
Yeah,
Legal
okay.
server.
Legal server and LHI Connect. System upgrades. Other colleagues can give updates on what that is. Custom report for one of our partner orgs, and updating A to J author 8 viewer version, except not into DAT. And that actually this whole update is going to be upgraded again, not too far out in the future. And then admin changes, just changing like some of the layout of organizational management tables, and a little bit more setting alarms and to better monitor our systems when there's issues. Anything else, Claudia?
No, I think that's it. I think we're gonna be doing one last code push in December. We haven't set it, and we haven't picked a lot of the things that we are definitely pushing. We're gonna have some usability improvements, hopefully, when people come in as logged in and they wanna go and work with their saved answers. A lot of people get confused and end up clicking a continue screen that takes them to a few new interview, and they don't see their answers loaded in that. So we're gonna change the design of that. That was feedback from one of our partners. So we're very thankful for the suggestion and the conversation on that. So that's hopefully gonna go out in December. And then we are going to harness resources, technical resources, because we're going to do a system upgrade to LHI. We're very excited that we're going to move to the new version of hot dogs. And so our hope, we will be sharing more of this in the community. It's a version called Hot Dogs Advanced, and we will be sharing when it's ready in beta, when we have created the architecture. It's a big lift, it's a big technical lift, so we will be probably in the December call, and in the spring we'll start messaging about more about the Hot Dogs Advanced upgrade, and then providing materials hopefully by the end of June to the community on how to use the new version of hot dogs and all of that. So stay tuned. But that's what we're gonna be doing in this next quarter, is really getting set up to push that enhancement to the software. And Mark or Bart, do you guys want to say anything else on the technical end in terms of updates?
I don't think so, Claudia. This is
Okay.
Mark.
Okay. So moving on. Oh, I'm going, pitch down, pitch down. Okay. So we are going to do the developer training that we've done every fall. And as some of you know, or may have known, we used to do it, it's a reverse classroom where people watch videos and then they do homework, and then they come in to a small session with Bart or Mark, or also with Jessica when we're doing the A to J author parts. And we've been doing those every week. So it's been a course that takes about 8 weeks, maybe 24 hours to do the whole thing, 25 hours. And it mimics the 2-day live training that we do in person when we do those. This year, we've decided that instead of requiring or inviting everyone that does it to weekly check-ins, instead of that, we're gonna do 2 check-ins in the fall, so that people that are doing the self-guided study of how to create a divorce petition or a form from New York can check in with Mark and Bart in 2 sessions and Jessica for the A to J ones. And then if from that we get feedback that additional sessions to do homework or really do a deep dive on the assignments and the techniques, we can provide that either one-on-one or in a group. But for sure, we're gonna do 2. And then the other change is that because document planning is so valuable and essential, Jessica and I are gonna do a call in December to anyone that wants to review and learn or hear how other programs manage robust collections in LHI, particularly how they're managing, helping users through time, how they're managing designing their bundle packages, and then giving as much information that is helpful before they actually start creating the form. So looking at other aspects of an online form like budgeting, fundraising, evaluation, metrics, pages where the instructions will be, etc., etc. So that call is going to be in December, and we will be sharing that through the list and through a new website. I have been tardy in releasing the sign up for the training, and I will be trying to get that done hopefully tomorrow or on Thursday. Post on the list an invitation for everybody that wants to do the training to sign up, and then we'll give you instructions on how to get ready to do that on your own time. So that's coming up, and I hope that some of you join us, and if you have people in your program that are new, they're welcome to join. The training is free, and we don't put we don't put caps on enrollment because it's online. So all of that is going to be coming via email. So LHI Resource Hub, I'm going to pause. And Sanam, do you want to share on that?
Sure.
Pause.
Yes.
Okay.
Hi everyone. Let me share my screen. So we wanted to take a moment here, just a couple of minutes to share our new LHI Resource Center. We have revamped it. It is not live yet, but we are planning to make it live by end of October, early November. So this is just to show you, the usability, and
We're not seeing
the
it,
look of
Sanam.
it. Are you not seeing it?
I'm not seeing it.
No, not yet.
All right, I was sharing my screen. Give me 1 second.
I think we still have Claudia's screen, so she may
Oh
need.
no, hold on. I stopped it. Hold on. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Fadia. Sorry about that.
No, sorry.
Okay. All right, so we have been working to revamp the LHI Resource Center that everybody uses. And we just wanted to take a few minutes here to show the look of it. This hasn't been live yet. We are hoping to release this in early November, late October. So yeah, here is the look. We have made it easier to navigate the library by taking out items or documents that you all have used in the past, and put it in different buckets. So as you can see here, document intro, if you click on here, it will take you to document assembly and law help interactive, and then from there into the documents. We would love your feedback on this as well once it has been released, to make it more user friendly, because this is all for everyone to use here. Yeah, Claudia, do you want to add anything, or do you want me to show anything?
The website that this is going to replace is the probono.net/LHI website, where we've been using a very old template, and it has a library that has always been really hard to maneuver. And since we've been doing community calls and trainings and conferences since 2008, there's a lot of content here that is valuable and that is still being used, even if it was published like in 2009, 2012, 2014. We are doing the best to bring that content over because some of you continue to refer to that and it's helpful, but there's also a lot of content where it is obsolete. And so we're removing that. So that's, we've been going through a collation and paring it down, but also trying to organize it more by areas. And this website, and the other thing that I'm really excited about is that most of what is gonna be here is not gonna be password protected. So anyone can access this resource hub and anyone can look at these materials, videos, presentations in the context of document assembly. While LHI centric, you know, these things apply to other softwares. And so if you are working on anything and you want to see, you know, how to manage a large collection, how to help users through time, some of the very cool national webinars we do it at the end of December, very technical, where we invite NEORA and we invite other legal Zoom, you know, those materials will be ported over and they will be available to anyone that's working on automated document assembly available here. So I'm excited that a lot of this is now not behind password and hopefully will help create a broader, higher quality, help people think through how do you create a powerful document assembly product.
Yeah, and just to give you all some context of how it looks currently, this is the current website. And this is going to be the new website. So it's already a big upgrade from that. So we are very excited to release that soon. Thank you.
So that's gonna come up and your membership will be ported over so you don't have to sign up. So if you're there, you'll have access to it, etc. So let me start the screen share again. Okay, share. Okay. So make sure I'm in the right page. So, one of the biggest questions that a lot of policymakers and people that are thinking about access to justice more broadly ask is what happens to people once they create the form, right? And in cases where we do have e-filing or email to court integrations on LHI's backend, we have better data to answer that question, right? We may even actually have number of e-filings, et cetera, or number of emails submitted. But we don't know what happens after that step. What happened to the user? Were they able to get the decision that they needed, et cetera, et cetera? So it's kind of been a holy grail for me to figure out the value of online forms, particularly when working with courts and legal nonprofits that very much care about access like our community does. And so what we did is that we did as a little pilot and we did a little study. And while the sample size is very small, it actually is only an N equal 26. I wanted to get to 30 to have really better degrees of freedom in statistical language. It's still, we can take it and just be aware that it's not 500, 600 like our end of the year type surveys that we do to evaluate our services to the community and end users. Having said that, there's some things that we get a lot of data from the server. We know a lot of those things. And so one thing that happened with the surveys that really corroborated what from the end user perspective, what we're seeing in the server data. For example, it's very important to me that when people start a forum, an interview, they get a document, that there's a high, as what we call session to document. From the server, we know that this year it's been the highest ever. It used to be like 45%, and it has slowly gone up. And a lot of that is because people are, meaning you, partners, you are like putting more attention to instructions, what people need, more plain language questions, really guiding people to the document assembly part. And a lot of that is also because we've been putting better messages and really correcting and improving the system based on the end user feedback that we get, so that people know how to get through the next step when there's an issue, trying to really simplify the language of errors that users get, and also being very proactive in technical support. So we know that we had a 98% rate of assembly from server data. This survey gave us a little bit more insight. So I am going to go through that, through what we asked. So I wanted to keep it really short, didn't want to ask a lot of questions. This was done to an email that we sent to about 1,000 users. And I wanted to keep it super short. I borrow from some of your surveys that you have shared in our calls. So I looked at the Michigan survey, I looked at the California name change survey, and I looked at the South Carolina survey. And from those 3 surveys, I created these questions. You know, did they get the document? Did they assemble it? Did they email it? What they did after they created the forms? If they filed the forms in court or with an agency, what happened after they filed the forms? If they did not go to court, what happened? And then anything else that they wanted to share in open text. And then the last question is, are they referring family, friends to LHI, or, are they, kind of, it's a satisfaction proxy. And so this is what we found. In terms of issues, divorce was the largest category, followed by domestic violence. How did they get the forms? 85% of them downloaded it. They created a through assembly. Remember, the LHI doesn't use email to PDF. They actually do real assemblies. And then 15% of them did an email to themselves. And I'm sorry, 12%. But the majority of people are creating the document, downloading it, and then, saving it or emailing them to themselves. So, 84% I downloaded and printed them. And then there was a small group. I was helped at the self-help center to print. So in places, some people are at the self-help center doing it. Or some people emailed to someone else, but, that category didn't get any hits. So what did you do after you created the forms? Now, these we have never seen because we never really knew, other than the few interviews that are doing this on the back end. But this is first impression data for me, and I'm very excited to see that it's that high. 73% file with the court. So to me, that's like the handshake. That's what the purpose of this technology is. So in LHI, now we know, based on this very small survey with caveat, that 73% of them filed in court. And that's exactly what the forms are meant for. Now, and then I flagged that about 8% changed their mind after they created the form, and they decided not to take action. And I think that that is very significant, because I think that this signals that these self-help tools supplement legal services, not replace them, and that there is a percentage of people that are trying to be empowered and resolve their own problems that may still need some sort of additional assistance. And so here's the full, set of options. File them with the court, send them to the person or group that I was having a problem with. That's generally a private party, like a landlord. Hold on. There was a small group that couldn't figure out what to do next. Many of them come to us on the inbox and ask us about how to e-file, because they don't understand the instructions you provided them in the printout, or they don't read them. We give them information. If you've given us information or web pages where they can read about e-filing in your state, we'll give them that information so they can move on. If not, we just encourage them to go back to the webpage where they found the interview, because hopefully that will have information on what to do next. You know, some people call the courts because the courts have self-help centers, or they may have other type of services on the phone. And then some people decide not to take action, you know, and, you know, the other one was health issues prevented completion. So some people are ready to go, but are too frail or too overwhelmed. And this makes absolute sense because 52% of our users in LHI are poverty line or below. So we are working with a very vulnerable community that's dealing with a lot of problems that are related to poverty and systemic exclusion and other things that make life very hard and unpredictable. So very excited about this data. If you filed in court, what happened? 46% of them went to the court and felt prepared, and 8% got the order that they needed from the court, agency, or landlord. 3%, 4% decided not to go forward, and about 4% were still waiting. You know, they were not yet ready to file. So this, again, we've never seen this data. It's data of first impression to all of us. And these two together make about 54%, you know, where they went to court and felt prepared. And then some of them, you know, reported that they got the order they needed. That's a win. And that's the point of this technology. And that puts it at around 54%. We'll continue to monitor and see where this is going, and maybe eventually break it out by state, etc. But this is really good to know. And, you know, that some people did not do anything, didn't go complete the process for the good reasons I mentioned before. And then some of them still thinking about it, for the ones that are not having to respond, right? That are not being hauled into court, and may argue that there needs to be additional support, not necessarily legal, maybe social work support or others for the people that are having other issues related to health or other stressors in their life. And then some people are waiting for the court's decision. If you did not go to court, what happened? You know, and to me, again, this 23%, never seen it. I knew that there are some people that look at the documents and read everything and educate themselves, and they decide that it is not the time in their life to take this legal action. And to me, that's a good outcome, because all the other studies on self-represented really show the amount of stress that being in a court proceeding as self-represented, even when you have a PhD, can have on an individual and family. There's great Canadian studies on this. So this really supports the case that for some people, we need additional nonprofit legal services to complement the technology. And so working with partners like you know, this may be information that you already know, but it makes the case for having both self-help, civil Gideon, if possible, at the highest level, but then other non-attorney advocacy or support provided at the other places that have the resources, like self-help at courts, etc., or libraries being partners, etc. So 23% went to court, got help, and they got what they needed. So for some people, they start at LHI, and then from LHI, they find out that there is a self-help center. They generally contact us, and we give them the links. They find a self-help center in their county, and then they go on. So that signifies the value of courts being very much partners in this area that we operate, this in between. And then 15% said that they fixed the problem, that whatever they printed, they got the result they wanted. And then 7% still in the process. So caveat, 13 responses, so it wasn't a significant large sample, and we'll see how this evolves as we do the survey again. But very, very, very excited information. And then most people are referring to LHI. And in the open feedback, we got a lot of people were very generous, and they did type in the open text box. You know, some people, you know, were very very, very generous with what they said. I'm not gonna read them, but I'll give you a couple minutes to read. For me, this is the whole point as the person that loves and thinks of forms. You know, people that this is like people should be able to come read, click, assemble, get the decision that they need. Now the courts are on Zoom and being treated respectfully, and then getting the solution that they want, which is something that they may not have ever been able to do if this technology and these collaborations and this reaching the bridge didn't exist. So to me, some of these are real, just inspirational, and good to know that this is happening in certain states with certain forms, and looking forward to help you build your collections and your services and help create the conversations where these tools can have these impacts. So that's what I wanted to share with all of you. We're gonna redo it. We did a survey for 1,000 users from January to June. So I'm trying to see if we have the bandwidth to redo it again between June and maybe September, maybe do this past quarter, maybe a smaller sample, but just to see, and I'm gonna change the questions a little bit, make them better, make it shorter, but wanna continue to understand what role the forums, the collaboration, and the nonprofit world, not just the nonprofit tech platforms and partners like Kali, A2J Author, in the document assembly space where we're not taking money out of people's pocket, what impact that's having on people's lives and getting them to get the decisions that they need, or getting them the resources if they're not ready to do it alone. I think this is an evolving conversation for all of us. As the space gets commoditized and taken over by groups with VC funding who want to capitalize on this market, which is great, but not for a significant number of people that are using our tools and technology. And here's some more of the income, right, of our LHI users and at the end of the year survey that we put on the side. So this system remains very much true to its nonprofit mission and to your nonprofit mission if you're looking to serve a very particular community of people that don't have enough money to be paying or subscribing monthly fees, etc. So this is that. I wanted to open it up to discussion. We could, I don't know, Sanam, I'm not seeing the list, but if it's not too long, we can unmute everyone and let people raise their hand, or you could raise your hand if the equivalent exists, or if anybody else wants to comment.
Yeah, so you would have to put your questions in the Q&A, and please, and then I can look at the questions, and so can Mark and Bart. We don't have any questions so far. What we had were already answered.
Okay. Well, I am happy to share the data with those of you who want to look at this. We're gonna post it. But if this is helpful to you in managing your project, or making the case for your forms at the state level, or making the case for investing in integrations, happy to share that. So just email me, because I think that we need to continue building these solutions that may be happening in collaboration with other agencies. And so I think some of this data I've never seen it before, and it just really, this one just warmed my heart to know that yes, the forms are getting filed with the court. That's extremely valuable to know, and something that we all of us in the call, you too, can feel proud of. And then the people that are not continuing, how do we continue to build those relationships and services, and how does this piggyback with regulatory reform and other things that are happening to increase the supply, hopefully in the nonprofit sector, close the gap. So if folks don't have questions, or we're good.
Let's see. Yep, we don't have any questions. Again, if you like to talk or give a comment, raise your hand and I will allow you to talk. I can unmute you from here. Yep.
Okay. Well, if we don't have any comments or questions, we don't need to keep going. We can be done. We're going to do one last call between now and December, and we'll be sharing that, and just be on the lookout for the quarterly stats that are gonna hopefully be coming around mid-October. And then for all of you who know how to pull the usage report, you can probably pull those at the end of the week. The data will be there for that. And then we will also be sharing the registration on the training. And that one I'll be sending out hopefully between Wednesday and Thursday of this week. So that's all. Any last minute, Bart, Mark?
No, great stuff about the outcomes, Claudia. That's really encouraging.
Yeah, and I would love to see if other people, if you know of anybody else that's collecting similar outcomes on document assembly strategies in specific, would love to read about that. I've read a lot of the stuff that's happening in Canada with their self-help surveys, and how, from that they moved on to doing what they call coaching for self-representatives, which are not necessarily legal services nor court services, but helping the person that gets kind of overwhelmed or doesn't know how to get through the next step on their own. So I think that some of this data, as we understand it better and talk a little bit more about it, hopefully we will be able to continue building other technology tools and stacks that complement this, so that eventually in this country people can do their own, protect themselves, protect their rights, and be well supported in a very respectful, plain language, linguistically competent, safe, non-exploitative way in the nonprofit sector and with court governments, partnerships, etc. So hopefully that's the conversation that can continue, on the awareness of people that are making choices at the policy or at the state funding level, etc. So reach out if you want more on this, but if we don't have any comments or questions, we can end. And reach out to me if you wanna get the data. I can send you this if this is helpful. But we'll be posting this also. We'll be posting this slide in the resource page in both of them, so that it'll be there if you wanna come back and look at it.
All right, great. All right, thank you everyone. Bye-bye.